Guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel and for another video. Now today's video is something slightly different, but something I really wanted to talk about because I followed these different steps in order to save money for myself during maternity leave and how to basically not make sure that I don't run out of money whilst I'm not working. And I wanted to share these tips with you because if there's anyone else watching my videos that is on maternity leave, it's really daunting and it's really difficult because your wage could just be like severed in half by a quarter depending on how much you earn, and going from a full-time wage to statutory maternity pay is really difficult. So I wanted to share 10 ways I've managed to save money whilst on maternity leave, and I thought that I'd share them with you guys in case they do help you out. I love using my channel to document things that I've learned along the way. I feel like parenthood, as well as just generally life, it can be really difficult, and you know, you learn a lot yourself throughout the process, and so if anything that I've learned can help you guys, then that for me is a job well done. So I hope that these tips help you, and without further ado, let's get straight into it. The first thing about making sure that you have enough money throughout maternity leave starts before you take maternity leave, and it's talking to your partner openly and honestly about money, whether you already have a joint savings account or whether you have a joint account together, whether all your bills come out of one account, whether you separate them and you have separate accounts still. You need to talk to your partner realistically about, one, how much money you're going to have whilst you're on maternity leave, and two, how long you're going to take off, because in the UK you get 9 months off statutory maternity pay. So you get the 9 months off. The first 6 weeks you get 90% of your average earnings, and then for the rest of the time I think it's like £145. I think it's just gone up as well. I think statutory maternity pay now has gone up to like £148 or something, so not dramatically, but that is quite a difference when you go from like 90% of earnings to £148 a week. So you get £148 a week. So you can take that off, and then if you have any holiday that you haven't taken in the year that you leave for maternity leave, and you accumulate holiday as well, and if you normally have bank holidays off, you earn those as holiday days, and you can then add them to the end of your maternity leave, which is what I'm doing. You can take up to a year off, but I think between 9 months and 12 months, I think you don't get paid anything because your rights still are there, so that means that your job still has to be offered to you when you go back and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that you get paid for it. I think that that's the way. But for me, I'm taking the 9 months off, and then I'm taking my holiday. I didn't take any holiday last year, and I've earned holiday whilst I've been on maternity leave, so I've added that to the end, which means I actually get 11 months off, which is amazing. But you need to talk to your partner about that before you make any decisions, because you need to talk realistically about how much you can afford to take off, basically. So I would just recommend talking to your partner and coming up with a plan before you do it. Now the next thing to do is, and can happen between any time from pregnancy to going on maternity leave, or even if you're not pregnant and you want to save a bit of money, is to look through your direct debits. And I'm sure you'll be surprised about how many like subscriptions that you might have or things that you're paying out for that you really don't need. So for example, I was paying for HeyU, which I think was £4.99 a month. I'd never really used it. You couldn't get the TV app on my TV. I don't have like a Now TV stick thing, which I think is the only thing you can get it on, and so I was only using my iPad, but the app was temperamental, so I just didn't seem to actually use it. And the only thing I watched on HeyU was Kardashians, so I was like, why am I paying £5 a month to watch Kardashians but I'm not even able to watch it? So I cancelled that, which was fine. But just go through things. If you have like insurance for things, we found out we had insurance for our TV, but it didn't make sense to have insurance for our TV anymore, because if our TV broke, it would just be cheaper to just buy another one instead of insuring the one we had. Things like that, that it's just really worth going through. And yeah, it's just check your direct debits, cancel anything that you can cancel, or just look into things, because sometimes you can't just cancel things straight away, but look in to see how much, like if you have a contract with something, find out when it ends, do you really need it? And again, just talk with your partner and just find out what you do and really don't need. And when it comes to bills, which is kind of linked to direct debit, is that bills normally go up every single year. I don't think we've ever had a year when our bills have ever really gone down. And so that means that your monthly outgoings are likely to just sneak up a little bit. And so what I did whilst I was on maternity leave, of course, we really don't have even just a spare few pounds to just throw at our electric or anything like that. that. So what I did was I rang up all of our suppliers and I asked them if we were getting their best rates. I tried to find out if they had better deals out there, whether it was like for new customers or upgrading customers or anything like that. And just explain that you're on maternity leave and that a price increase just really isn't an option. And you'll be surprised by how many people actually are able to discount your monthly fee by just being honest. And so we did that with Sky TV, for example. We were looking for our bills. Our Sky TV, we had like an introductory offer where it was like £40 odd for TV and broadband, which wasn't that bad. I just heard this one was stirring a little bit, so I thought I'd pick her up. Say hello. Say hello, babu. So yeah, like with Sky TV, our introductory offer was going up and our contract was only binded for the length of that offer. So I rang them up, and me and Rich really don't watch TV at all. So we cancelled Sky TV. We just said to them, we just don't watch it. We have Netflix and Amazon Prime, so you really don't need all three really. So we cancelled that. And then I just explained that with the broadband, whilst we were happy to keep that for the time being, we will be looking at competitors and prices because again, that was going up. And so they managed to discount that, I think, to £30 a month with fibre broadband. So it just kind of talking to them about your situation, the fact that you just can't afford to pay extra for things, especially when it goes from like £40 to like £65 a month. That's a big difference. And that's like £100 over 4 months that you could do with savings. So yeah, I would just say ring up your energy suppliers, use comparison websites and things like that to just make sure that you're getting the best deal. My next tip is maybe something that not everyone can do, but it's something that I did and it's really helped me out, is that I saved money before I went on maternity leave. So I think I managed to save about £800 when I found out I was pregnant to when I went off, and that's just sitting in a savings account that I haven't really touched all that much, to be honest with you, but it's there if I need it. So for example, if someone invites me out and I have no money left, it's the end of the month, me and Rich are really kind of saving the cash to just go on shopping and things, then I will dip into that, take £10 out for a coffee, things like that, that it's there if I do want to use it. And I think having a little bit of a pot just means that you won't go into using like your credit card, things like that. I just say don't even use, because you probably can't afford to pay it off if you're having to use your credit card. So just be careful with things like that, but if you can save a bit of money, then definitely do so. So the next point is child benefit. Now everyone is entitled to child benefit, which is not something that I realised. I honestly just thought it was if you had like a low income, and I didn't expect for me and Rich to be able to get it because he earns quite a good wage. I think that everyone's entitled to it unless one of you earns like £50,000. So it might not be applicable to people that live in London and cities and things like that. But for us, we were able to claim it. I think it's only like £82 a month or something like that. But £82 a month will pay for her nappies and a tub of formula. So it's enough for us to get her the essentials, which is what it's there for. Even if you don't feel like that you need to claim it or that you don't need the money, if you're entitled to it and you pay tax, and you are entitled to it. And so I would say, obviously, make a claim. You do get it backdated as well if you didn't do it straight away from when they were born. But even if you put it in a savings account for them, or you put it in your own savings account so that when they got older and they needed something specific, then there was money there to actually buy them the things for them. Of course, the money is meant for your baby, so don't just willy-nilly spend it on anything, but it is there as a bit of a cash boost at the end of the month if you do need a little bit extra. So do you have anything that you no longer need and you want to sell on? I would definitely recommend local Facebook groups are the best thing for that. Things like eBay are okay, but they take a small cut, and if you use PayPal, things like that, they do take a percentage. Whereas with local Facebook groups, with local Facebook groups, you're just dealing with people in your area so that you know that they're able to collect, you're not having to pay postage. And it's really good, especially like if you have a baby, for looking at like secondhand things. Babies are not in a lot of stuff for very often. That's the biggest thing that I've learned, and that there's just no need to like spend out. They don't know whether they're sitting in branded clothes or whether they've got Primark clothes. It really doesn't matter. And so things like that, like clothes, they're only in it for about 3 months. Toys, it's only essential whilst they fit in it, or are able to use it development wise, they will literally grow out of everything. So if there's things that you don't want to keep, for example our Moses basket that we're no longer keeping because we're not going to use it for our next one, I'm just going to sell it on a second-hand site. Of course you don't make the same amount back from it, but it means that you can get a little bit extra from things that you just don't need. It doesn't just have to be baby related either. It can be anything from your own clothes that no longer fit to just things that you have that you just don't use. It's a great way to just get a bit of extra cash and get rid of things that you don't need around the house. So I learned the next tip from whilst I was at uni, but it's setting yourself a budget is so essential in making sure that you don't spend too much money. And it sounds pretty obvious, but I'm actually surprised by the amount of people that I know that are on maternity leave that don't live by any kind of budget, and they'll just say that they can't do something because they don't have any more money left at all that they can use. And so for me, having a budget is really essential in making sure that I don't overspend and that I know how much I can spend, so that I don't feel guilty if we do something, but if we don't do something and I know that I have to think of something else, then it's all within the budget. So I would say put like food and nappies and everything in there. Do you think? But yeah, just definitely make yourself a budget, even if it's like physically writing it down on pen and paper or using a spreadsheet, whatever works best for you. Find what works best and just stick to it, because it made such a big difference, and it means that I'm able to not overspend. And I think that I put that down to just writing things down. If you have receipts, write it down. It just makes a world of difference, because even if you spend like £5 here and there and don't realise, it does soon really add up. My next tip is finding free things to do and go out and do. So you don't always have to pay for, not that she's big enough, but like soft play or things like that. Going to a park is free. For us, we can go to the beach, it's free. We can go for walks. If you go out and meet friends or family, if you can take a picnic, then it's free. If you don't have to pay to go in somewhere. So not everywhere has to cost you money. That's it. You can find things to do for free locally, and even if it's just meeting friends and family, but instead of meeting at a coffee shop, invite them over, go to their house. It just makes a world of difference in not only seeing people, because you want to make sure you get out, like you don't want to be bound to the house all the time, but you don't want to be spending too much money in the process. Now the next tip kind of goes in line with what I mentioned before about your bills, but I remember seeing one of Martin Lewis's shows mention the fact that you should check your energy bills online every year. So that's using a comparison website and finding the best rates and then move into the cheapest person, and you should do that every year to make sure that you're always on the lowest tariff for you. Isn't that right? Now we never used to do this, we just used to stick with one energy provider and just stick with them until we moved out of the house, because I think we just didn't realise how easy it was to switch over. But when you do compare things online, it's super easy. They do all the hard work for you. All you've got to do is put in your latest bill or something and a meter reading. I'm not too sure, Rich normally deals with this, but I will put it in our diaries every year to look it up, because you really can save a lot of money by doing that. I think at the moment we're with Bulb, and we found it significantly cheaper than when we was with EDF or something. So I would just recommend going on a comparison website and just looking at your energy bills and seeing where you can save some money and things like that. It's money that you're saving, but you're not compromising on anything either, which is a massive bonus. And something that you should do even if you're not on maternity leave, but if you are and you're having a lower income, it's even more important. Now the next point is, when you come to buying baby things, it's inevitable that you're going to have to buy your baby stuff. It's the nature of having a child, is that they need lots and lots of toys or just accessories or just physical things that they need. But I would just say, if you know that you need something, for example, if you need a high chair, then keep an eye out on websites. If you know what one you want, but you know that it can be cheaper, just keep an eye out, search all the websites, so check Amazon, check eBay, so if there's a pre-owned one, check websites. For me, I really like Precious Little One. That's a baby website where they have really good deals on things. But if you just shop around, is just the biggest thing. Don't be loyal to one shop, because that's where you can really save a lot of money, because you're still getting the same thing, but you can get it significantly cheaper, especially if you know that you're going to need it, but you give yourself a little while to look for it. It can just be so much cheaper by looking around, because if you just buy it on impulse, chances are you're probably wasting a bit of money by doing that. And the last point before this one realises that she needs feeding is to not be afraid to ask to borrow things. So for example, Rich's sister had a baby like 2 years ago now. He's going to be 2 soon, which is crazy. She had a lot of things that we could just borrow, and the beauty of that is for her, it would have just sat in storage. We're getting use out of it so we don't have to buy so much, and then we can just give it back to her once we're done. For example, she let us borrow the Snuggle bath, the Dr. Brown bottles we got from her, and a Bumbo we're borrowing as well, which I think that you're going to love. So just ask if you know that they've had things or you've seen them. Oh, she's also got a jumperoo as well, which I think she's going to be in very, very shortly, as you can tell. She's got a lot of strength now. But yeah, just ask them to borrow it, and if for any reason they're a bit funny about it, just, I don't know, just let them know that, you know, you'll take good care of it, and if it's broken or anything, then you can pay to replace it. But chances are they'll be more than happy to let you borrow it. And again, if you see something on like a Facebook selling site that you're a group of because you're selling things, keep an eye on there, because chances are if people decide they're no longer having another baby, they get things, they sell things really cheap. So just keep an eye on things like that, but definitely shop around and ask to borrow, and yeah, it can save you so much money. So that's it for this video, isn't it? I'm gonna feed this little one because she is just all over the place at the moment. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you have, and don't forget to subscribe down below. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys. Say bye. Say bye.